And I'll go through it with you if you aren't sure where to start. That's fine. Okay, so basically we have three pieces of this graph. We'll start here. I know that for that piece of the graph, we start at -6 on the x-axis, and we go to -3, but it does not include -3. Now, usually with piecewise functions, we write these like this, but if you wrote it, like that, that's fine. It means the same thing. It's just, that top one is just the notation that you usually do when you're talking about intervals. When you're talking about a piecewise function, it's usually the one below it. But,
where did you get a 6 from?
The x-axis.
Okay, I was
And it stops here at 3. Good. That is a line. So I just need to figure out what the equation of that line is. So many ways you can do that. You can pick 2 points, find the slope that way. You can go rise over run, since that's what slope is. If I start here, I go up 2 and to the right 1. Up 2 and to the right 1. So I know my first part, my slope, is 2. And if I could continue to do that, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, I would know it would cross it there at 3, 5, at 7. So it would be 2x plus 7. Remember, b is the y-intercept. That's not the only way to do it, but that's one way. Lots of different ways. Okay, so the next line, that one. That one looks like a square root. It goes from -3 to what? 1. So we would write that -3, it's not included, to 1, which is included. It has been normally, let me show you, it normally looks like this. So it's been flipped over the x-axis, so I know it's going to be negative. And I know this point, my starting point, has been shifted to the left 3. So how do I show that? Plus 3. It was x plus 3. And it's been shifted up 1, so not under the square root. What do we put? Plus 1. That time we don't change the sign. And then let's do the last one. Do it in red. And there, that's a parabola. I know it goes from what to what? 1 to 5. It doesn't include the 1, but it does include the 5. My vertex point is here. Normally, they go something like that. So I know it's been flipped, so it's a negative. I know my vertex has been moved to the right 3, So what do I do with the x to make it move right 3? Subtract 3. It's squared, because the squared is what makes it a parabola. And then it's been shifted up 5. So you add 5 on the end. So you'll be expected, I'm sure, on one question of your homework quiz to do a piecewise function. Identify the domain. So the domain of the entire graph starts at what? -6. And bracket, very good. Why is it a bracket, Cameron?
Because
It does include it. Yeah, it's a filled in circle. It does include it. Okay, then where do we have a problem? Our first problem.
At -3.
At -3, it's an open circle. So I have to put parentheses there. Then union. Start at -3. And I go to 4, what'd you say? 1. I would usually agree with you because, yes, there's a problem at 1.
There's 2.
Right. But there's not a problem at this one. So if I said, is there a value for h of 1? Sure, it's this one. So it is part of the domain. So it's included. So I keep going. I go to what? 5. And it does include 5. Okay, the range would be the y's. The range goes from what's the lowest y?
-5.
-5 is included. And then I'm going up. I worry about holes unless I have, like here and here, I would have a hole at 1, but there's a point at 1. As long as I actually have a point there, I'm good. So it goes all the way up here to 5. So the only time you leave out a point is if there is no value for, in this case, h of x at that point. And then for the y, there's no value of h of 1, but there is. It's h of 5 is 1. So that's why it's part of the range. If p of x equals blah, identify the value or values of x for which p of x equals h of x and explain your reasoning. How would we figure that out? They equal each other if they intersect. So what can I do to figure out if h of x and p of x intersect? Sorry? Slope will be part of it. There's also an absolute value and all that stuff. So what could I do? Graph it. Yeah, go to p of x, or go to the graph and graph it. I know that I got to go from -6 to -3. And then from -3 to 5, it's got to include all those domains. So I'm going to start with -6. And I'm plugging it into P of X. I know that -6 plus 1 is -5. I'm just plugging it into that green equation. Absolute value of -5 is 5, but then there's a negative out in front of it, so it's still negative. And -5 plus 3 is -2. So -6, -2. And now I have a dot there. I know I can figure out where my vertex point is for my V, my absolute value. It's going to go to the left 1 and up 3. I know it would look like that. Now it looks like they cross, but they really don't. Why?
That point doesn't exist.
Yeah, -3 is an open circle. It doesn't exist. So let's do the other side. How about I can plug in 5, since that's at the end here. I'm plugging in 5 into the green equation. 5 plus 1 is 6. Absolute value of that is 6, but then there's a negative in front of it. So -6 plus 3 would be -3. So 5, -3. I think technically it does go through that open circle, but I've drawn it more perfectly. But it's either way, even if it did go through that open circle, they don't actually intersect. So P of X and H of X never intersect. So they're never equal to each other.